After having repaired the hoist beam, I realized that it is of little use without a winch. Over hundreds of years, mankind has invented many different constructions for lifting heavy things, and for a long time wood was the only material to build gears. So I thought, let's build a winch with big wooden gears to match the wooden surrounding of the ancient house. I just estimated the proportions at first and then calculated a ratio of 1 to 16.8. That means that I can apply 16.8 times the force of my arms with this machine. For the big wheel, I glued 4 layers of cut-offs from the paneling together, while the small wheel got a core of hardwood between plywood. Of course, I used Matthias Wandel's gear generator for the design of the gears. Then I cut the teeth of the 8 cm thick wheels.
Ja gut, das liegt an dem.
Drilling the holes for the shaft was a bit tricky because they had to be centered exactly and perfectly perpendicular to the wheels. For the barrel or drum, I used a leftover block from my timber frame repairs. The biggest thing I turned on my old lathe so far. Making the holes was even more difficult here because I had to drill from both sides, only eyeballing the direction. But with some luck, the 2 holes aligned astonishingly well. Then the drum had to get a high flange on one side. On the other side came the big gear. It had to be joined properly to the drum, because this is the point where a huge torque is transmitted. For a frame, I used 10 by 14 centimeters timbers and joined them with threaded rods. Finger joints may have been much nicer here, but the frame has to come apart for inserting the gears. shaft of the small gear doesn't turn in it, but has to transmit the torque of the handle, so I welded a flange onto the shaft and fixed it onto the gear with thick old-style wood screws. Yes, now the crank had to be made. The old Wainwrights had left me some 50 years old oak already prepared for making spokes. An important part of the winch is a gear with a hook that prevents the winch from going backwards under load. I mounted it directly onto the crank. Having all these nice parts ready for varnishing was very satisfying. They looked really impressive and strong, but even so, I was wondering if the winch would be reliable enough to really lift heavy things with it. Finally, we put everything together. Now here comes the moment of the first test.
Und?
Hier ist knapp über der Tür.
Alles nach Plan bisher?
Ja, zumindest noch gerade, dreht sich ja nicht sehr wirklich. Ich mach nicht viel.
Das machst du super.
Ja, sie sind nur mit seinem Luftschiff. Gefällt dir, deswegen ist sie brav. Sie gleich da sein. Jetzt müssen sie da sein. Geh ein Stück zurück, okay?
Ja, klar.
Guck mal, was die Kamera so sagt. Dieses Geräusch gefällt mir nicht.
So the winch did exactly what it was supposed to, and we have our Ulmer Schachtel Zinnowitz easily stored in the attic.